Thank you all for being here today. I truly appreciate each and every one of you joining me as we dive into an incredibly serious and deeply troubling issue. What we witnessed yesterday was not just concerning, it was a heartbreaking moment in American history. We saw something that should alarm every single one of us. The President of the United States standing side by side with Vladimir Putin, a ruthless dictator, and working to weaken the sovereignty of Ukraine and dismantle its democratic foundations. Let's not mince words here. Trump is revealing his true colors yet again. He has made it crystal clear where his loyalties lie. He sees one of the most oppressive and brutal dictators on the planet as a close ally, while he views our long-standing democratic partners in Europe as adversaries. What kind of world does he want to create? A world where authoritarians and corrupt oligarchs thrive, while democracies are left vulnerable and at risk. Now, let me tell you something that should come as no surprise. Trump is lying, just as he has done time and time again. Yesterday, he had the audacity to claim that Ukraine was responsible for starting the war. That is an outright falsehood. The reality is this: Russia launched an invasion of Ukraine not once, but twice, first in 2014 and then again in 2022. Right now, as we speak, Russian forces occupy approximately 20% of Ukraine's land. Since Putin's vicious and unprovoked full-scale invasion, the human cost has been catastrophic. Over 1 million people have been killed or wounded. And the horror doesn't stop there. Every single day, Russia continues its relentless barrage of missiles and drone strikes, raining destruction down on Ukrainian cities. But the atrocities go even deeper. Putin's forces have brutally massacred innocent civilians. Thousands of Ukrainian children have been abducted, ripped from their families, and taken to Russian re-education camps. These crimes are so heinous that in 2023, the International Criminal Court had no choice but to issue an arrest warrant for Putin, labeling him exactly what he is, a war criminal. Yet, despite all of this, Trump stood before the world and called Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator. That is another blatant lie. Zelensky was democratically elected, winning an overwhelming 75% of the vote in a fair and free election. Even now, in the midst of a brutal and exhausting war, Ukraine's parliament remains active and open political debates are still taking place. Meanwhile, let's not forget, Zelensky's approval rating is higher than Trump's. So who, really, is the dictator in this conversation? Trump also made another wildly misleading claim. He said that our European allies have done little to help Ukraine in its fight against Putin's invasion. He even suggested that the United States has provided 3 times more aid than Europe. But once again, that's just another one of his many, many lies. The truth? European nations have actually contributed more total aid to Ukraine than the United States. But let's not get caught up solely in fact-checking Trump. After all, lying is nothing new for him. What's truly alarming is what all of this tells us about his vision for America and for the world. Trump is cozying up to Vladimir Putin, but why? What does that tell us about where he wants to lead us? Let's take a closer look at who Putin really is and what kind of world he seeks to build. Putin is not just a dictator. He is a tyrant who crushed any hopes Russia had for democracy after the Cold War. Russia holds sham elections every 6 years, where Putin miraculously wins with 90% of the vote. There's no effort to hide the blatant ballot stuffing. There's no free press, no freedom of speech. Protests are not just discouraged, they are violently crushed. Tens of thousands of Russians have been thrown into prison simply for speaking out against the invasion of Ukraine. And the bravest among them, true heroes like Alexei Navalny, are hunted down and murdered outright. Since Putin's invasion of Ukraine, hundreds of thousands of Russians have fled their homeland, desperate to escape his brutal grip. Yet, despite all of this, Putin has managed to keep his hold on power by offering Russia's oligarchs a simple, sinister deal. Let me rule with absolute power, and in return, you can steal as much wealth as you want from the Russian people. And that's exactly what they've done. In a country where so many are struggling to survive, Russian oligarchs have hidden away trillions, yes, trillions, of dollars in offshore tax havens, while everyday citizens suffer. And this is the man Trump admires? This is the system he supports? It is absolutely unacceptable. But let's be clear, this is not the vision of the American people.
Not now.
Not ever.
We know who we are.
We are proud that the United States of America is the longest-standing democracy in the world. And we remember the sacrifices made by hundreds of thousands of brave Americans who have fought and died to defend that democracy. We also know who our true allies are, those nations that stand for freedom, democracy, and justice. Not autocrats. Not dictators. Not corrupt oligarchs. At this critical moment in our history, I urge every American, no matter their political affiliation, to take a stand. Stand up and say yes to democracy, yes to freedom, and a resounding no to oligarchy, and no to authoritarianism, because our future and the future of democracy itself depends on it. Thank you all so much.